You're ahead of me. This guy isn't French. He's obviously a fraud.
I didn't get that one.
Alain Delon is a famous French actor and film producer. Despite having had a glorious career, Alain Delon stirred up controversy several times because of scandalous information about his private life. Recently, after his sad demise, even his son admitted what we all suspected. Childhood. Alain Fabien Maurice Marcel Delon was born in Achaux, a commune in Hauts-de-Seine, France, on November 8, 1935. He is the son of Fabien Delon, 1904-1977, director of Les Regina, a small neighborhood cinema, and Edith Arnold, 1911-19, a young pharmacy clerk. The Delon family hails from Saint-Vincent-l'Espinasse, which is located in the Tarn and Garonne regions. His paternal great-grandfather, Fabien Delon, 1829-1909, was awarded the Légion d'honneur in 1892, and his grandmother, Marie-Antoinette Evangelista, married Jean-Marcel Delon, a collector for Prunelli of Fiumorbo. People claim that the Evangelista family is related to the Bonapartes. Alain's parents separated in 1939 when he was only 4 years old, and his father disappeared from his life for a long period of time. Despite the strong emotional bond, his mother entrusts Alain to a foster family, whose father is a prison guard in Fresnes prison. During this time, Alain witnesses the execution of the collaborationist Pierre Laval, an event that marks him deeply and arouses in him a mixture of shock and fascination. Alain is sent to a nuns' boarding school in Issy-les-Moulineaux at the age of 8 because he can no longer stay with his adoptive family and cannot return to his mother. There he meets Gérard Salomé, who will become one of his closest friends and spend his adolescence with him. Alain changes schools several times because of his rebellious nature, which he attributes to the trauma of his parents' separation, and he gets bad grades in school. He dropped out of school at age 14. His mother, who has since remarried Paul Boulogne, a master charcuterie maker, directs him to work as a charcuterie maker as an apprentice in his stepfather's butcher shop. Alain quickly adapted to the job and soon became one of the most productive employees in the workplace. At the age of 14, he participated in a short film called Le Rapt, which was shot by his friend's father. At 17, Alain Delon gave up the idea of becoming a master charcuterie maker and took his stepfather's place, enlisting in the French Navy as a margin. He was sent to Indochina, Southeast Asia, in 1953 as a member of the French Military Expeditionary Force during the Indochina War. But because of his indiscipline, he was expelled from the Navy after 3 years and went to prison for 11 months. Returning to France in 1956, Delon lost a lot of money and worked at a variety of jobs as a porter clerk and waiter in the rough neighborhoods of Montmartre. Eventually, as he himself acknowledged, he decided to live a bohemian life in Montmartre. A meeting with Brigitte Aubert, a young actress, prompted him to leave that world and led him to meet Jean-Claude Brialy, an actor who invited him to the Cannes Film Festival. His candid but glacial beauty does not go unnoticed here. He later moves to Rome, where he lives with Giampaolo Barbieri, an internationally renowned photographer. Early career. He is offered a contract that can take him to Hollywood if he learns English. Although he begins an English course in France, the trip is cancelled when he is persuaded to work for French director and screenwriter Yves Allégret. In 1957, Allégret plays Alain Delon for the first time in the film Godot. In the same year, the actor was part of the cast of Fatti Bella e Taci, where he played Jean-Paul Belmondo for the first time. In 1958, he played his first leading role in The Pure Lover, a film in which he met Austrian actress Romy Schneider. The two began a long romance despite an initial mutual distrust. The golden couple of French cinema is young, charming, and successful, and is followed with interest by audiences both at the movies and in the newspapers. The film with Schneider was negatively received by critics, but Delon went on to star in 2 films by Michel Boiron. Women Are Weak and The Desire to Live were both released in 1989. In both films, she plays the role of a young heartthrob. However, Delon achieved her first real starring success with René Clément, playing Crime in One, a novel by Patricia Highsmith. This film, which was a huge box office success, made Delon an international celebrity. In a television interview, the actor said that he had struggled for the lead role because the director had initially thought of him for another part. Delon's meeting with Luchino Visconti marked a turning point in his international career. In Visconti's 1960 masterpiece Rocco and His Brothers, Delon plays a pure and tolerant character, very different from later roles. The film is a great success, winning the Silver Lion at Venice, and Visconti takes Delon back under his wing, becoming one of his main mentors. Visconti convinces Delon and Romy Schneider to star in an opera in Paris, their stage debut. In Italy, Delon continued to emerge in other works of great artistic merit, such as Michelangelo Antonioni's L'Eclisse, 1961, in which he stars with Monica Vitti, reprising the role of the heartthrob he had already played in France with Clément. The film won the jury prize at the Cannes Film Festival. Clément again called Delon to star in the 1961 comedy Che Gioia Vivere, which recounts the adventures of two young men before the March on Rome. In 1962, Delon appeared in an episode of Julien Duvivier's comedy entitled The Daily Temptations. The following year, in Luchino Visconti's The Pardo Cat, he became world famous playing the role of Prince Tancredi Falconeri alongside celebrities such as Burt Lancaster and Claudia Cardinale. The film, which received the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, received wide international acclaim and helped solidify Delon's image as a film icon, earning him a Golden Globe nomination for Best Debut Actor. During this period, Delon became a new movie star, while Romy Schneider focused mainly on the theater and began to lose the same recognition. Alain Delon was recognized as one of the best actors of his time and was often called the most handsome man in the world. After achieving success in Italy, Delon returned to France to strengthen his image there as well. During this time, he had the opportunity to team up with Jean Gabin, his idol and cinematic touchstone, in Henri Verneuil's 1963 film entitled Big Shot at the Casino. The role of Delon had initially been assigned to Jean-Louis Trintignant, but the actor, eager to star alongside Gabin, offered to work for free and settle for the rights to exploit the film abroad, despite the opposition of the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer producers. Personal life. In 1964, Delon married actress Francine Canovas, adopting the stage name Nathalie Delon after his liaison with Romy Schneider abruptly ended. The couple had a son, Anthony, but in 1969 they divorced. Over the next few years, Delon continued to achieve success. Among Christian Jacques' most famous films from that period was The Black Tulip, from 1964, which was one of the year's top box office hits. Also, Chrysanthemums for a Murder, from 1964, again directed by René Clément, was one of the best-known films of that period. Delon began acting in multiple films each year, often up to 3 or 4 a year. 3 Steps into Delirium, 1967, in an episode of William Wilson directed by Louis Malle. And Clémence, The Colossal Paris is Burning, in the mid-1960s are among the most significant works in which Delon made his debut in 3 Hollywood productions that were successful with audiences. There are such films as The Last Murder, 1965, by Ralph Nelson, in which he stars with Dan Margaret and Van Heflin. Neither Honor Nor Glory, 1966, by Mark Robson, in which he stars with Anthony Quinn. And Texas Beyond the River, 1966, by Michael Gordon, in which he stars with Dean Martin. These films further increased his international fame and solidified his career in world cinema. Alain Delon became famous in France when director Jean-Pierre Melville called him to play the role of hitman Frank Costello in Frank Costello's Face D'Angelo in 1967. His portrayal of the samurai-inspired character became one of the most famous of his career, helping to define Delon's classic character in subsequent films. A difficult and fascinating detour, but often marked by inescapable destiny, whether he plays a criminal or a lawman. During the 1970s, Delon's triumph triggered a media rivalry in France with Jean-Paul Belmondo, another great film actor. While Delon is one of the most profitable actors at home, along with Louis de Funès and Belmondo, his performances in major Hollywood productions have not brought him the same international success. However, he continued to achieve success in both France and Italy, remaining a leading figure in European cinema, At the end of his film career, Delon tried his theatrical adventure and began running other entrepreneurial activities. He bought the restaurant La Camargue in Nice and began working in film production, helping to finance the 1964 film L'Insoumis, directed by Alain Delon. Delon's ambition and versatility are demonstrated by these projects, which seek to expand his influence beyond acting. His figure continues to be that of a multifaceted artist who has left an indelible mark both on the silver screen and in other areas of entertainment. Alain Delon, now famous and popular, became one of the main protagonists of the polar genre, a fusion of noir and the detective story typical of French cinema, parallel to the Italian-style detective story. His career in this genre peaked in 1969 with Henri Verneuil's The Clan of Sicilians, where he is again on stage with Jean Gabin. In this film, Delon plays Roger Sartet, a professional hitman who falls in love with the wife of powerful mob boss Vittorio Milanese, played by Gabin. The film was a great success both in France and in the United States and Canada, cementing Delon's reputation as an international star. Despite this success, Delon also acted in less notable films such as Farewell Jeff in 1968, where he starred with his partner at the time Mireille Darc. However, In the Pool, 1969, a psychological drama by Jacques Deray, Delon makes a major decision, imposing his former partner Romy Schneider and rejecting Monica Vitti as his female partner. The dramatic tension between the characters and the on-set reunion of the Delon-Schneider couple captures the audience's attention, making the film iconic. That same year, Delon is involved in a case that endangers his reputation, the mysterious murder of Stephen Markovich, his bodyguard, which reveals a series of drug and sex scandals within his family. The episode had a brief impact on his career, despite the media attention and investigation. In 1970, Delon returned to prominence with the film Borsellino, the first in which he starred with Jean-Paul Belmondo. The film was a great success in France, largely due to the chemistry between the two actors, both of whom are very popular. In addition, Borsellino marked the beginning of Delon's career as a film producer, producing his first film for his company, Adele Productions. That same year, Delon again worked with Jean-Pierre Melville in The Nameless, where he played Jean-Marie Volonté and Yves Montand. Although international critics received it negatively when it was released, it would later be re-evaluated and considered one of Melville's best films. This once again underscores Delon's versatility and ability to leave an indelible mark on film history. In 1971, Alain Delon tried his hand at comedy in the film The Man from Saint-Michel, in which he starred with his ex-wife Nathalie Delon. The film, however, did not achieve the expected success, confirming that the comedy genre was not the best place for Delon's talent. That same year, he joined an international cast for the Western film Red Sun, where he starred with Charles Bronson, Toshiro Mifune, and Ursula Andress. In 1972, Delon rediscovered his interest in art cinema when he directed La Prima Notte di Quiete, directed by Valerio Zerlini. In this film, he offers one of his most intense and personal performances, playing Daniele Dominici, a professor who falls in love with one of his students. Although tensions between Delon and director Zerlini characterize the making of the film, Dominici's role has the same emotional depth and complexity as Frank Costello's. Throughout the 1970s, Delon played similarly challenging roles, such as in The Assassination of Trotsky, 1972, where he plays the assassin Ramon Mercader, who killed Lev Trotsky, and in Mr. Klein, a Joseph Losey film, 1976. In Mr. Delon, he plays Klein as an art collector who discovers that there is a man with the same name trying to steal his identity. The film was not successful at the box office, but the role is considered one of Delon's best. In 1973, Delon collaborated with Dalida on the song Parole Parole, a French version of the famous song by Mina and Alberto Lupo. The song became a big hit and consolidated Delon's image as a musician. Beginning in the mid-1970s, Delon focused almost exclusively on violent crime films, where his characters became increasingly stereotypical and repetitive, such as in The Death of a Carrion, 1977. He is also involved in smaller, lesser-known international productions, such as Airport 80, 1979. Delon stars with Ricardo Cucciolo In 1975, Delon played the role of the famous masked vigilante in Duccio Tessari's film Zorro, once again demonstrating his ability to play iconic characters. On the personal side, Delon began a relationship with actress Mireille Darc in 1968. Their romance would last until 1983 and marked an important period in his private life. Audiences continue to enthusiastically watch his films despite negative reviews. As a producer, he is happy to say that success is guaranteed if the word flick appears in the title. In 1976, Flick Story, starring Jean-Louis Trintignant and directed by Jacques Deray, was one of his greatest successes as a producer. During the 1980s, he participated in the film Three Men to Be Fell, again directed by Jacques Deray, with Italian actress Dalila Di Lazzaro. In 1981, he took part in the international co-production of Spy's Nest, which became one of the most widely seen films in Soviet cinema history and had an audience of more than 46.5 million. In 1981, he made his directorial debut in By the Skin of a Cop, a film he wrote, produced, and starred in with his future partner Anne Parigio. The film was successful at the box office but did not meet expectations. In 1994, Alain Delon starred in A Love of Swan, directed by Volker Schlondorf and based on Marcel Proust's work of the same name, with Ornella Muti and Jeremy Irons. In this role, he plays Charles Barron, a defeated man who is obsessed with nostalgia and contempt for contemporary society. This character is just one of many roles the actor would later play, all featuring characters of desperate, loser men. A Love of Swan, which received 2 César Awards and was marked by the disappearance of his great love Romy Schneider in 1982, stems from his personal experience. In 1985, Delon starred in Bertrand Bliet's Notre Histoire, which earned him the only César Award for Best Leading Actor of his career. In this film, he plays Nathalie Bay, another character marked by defeat, similar to Baron de Charlus, who plays an alcoholic mechanic who enters a woman's life. Delon moved to Switzerland in 1985 and, in the late 1990s, obtained Swiss citizenship along with his new partner, the mother of 2 of his children. Alain Delon began to reduce his appearances on the big screen after some commercial failures, such as The Passage 1986 and the TV series The Pianos of Berlin 1988, and with the birth of his 2 children in the early 1990s. His only exception is his starring role in The Return of Casanova 1992, in which he plays the famous adventurer in exile in Venice. The film did not win at the international box office despite positive reviews from critics. Delon's films were successful in the 1990s, but in 1997 he decided to retire from his film career. However, he later agreed to return to work in film and television. During this period, his performances in such films as Nouvelle Vague, 1991 by Jean-Luc Godard, 101 Nights, 1995 by Agnès Varda, and One of Two, 1998 by Patrice Leconte, where he again stars with Jean-Paul Belmondo, are notable, abandoning the polar genre altogether. He returned to work with Jacques Deray in The Plush Bear in 1994, but the film was not as successful as their earlier work. At the Berlin Film Festival in 1995, Delon won the Golden Bear for his career. During these years, Delon concentrated on his theatrical activity and found greater acclaim. After announcing his retirement, in the early 2000s, the actor took part in only one film, Actors, directed once again by Bertrand Blier, in which he played a choral role with some of the biggest stars of French cinema. After a 15-year relationship with Mireille Darc, Delon had a brief affair with actress Anne Parigio before marrying Dutch model Rosalie van Bremen around 1988. He has 2 children with her, Anouchka, 1990, and Alain Fabienne, 1994. Alain Delon made his television debut in the early 2000s after starring only in a TV movie in 1978. He achieved new success by accepting Jean-Claude Izzo's proposal to return to play the role of the troubled policeman Fabio Montale of the Marseille Police Department. Izzo's choice to assign the role of Montale, a character with progressive ideas, to Delon, a known right-wing sympathizer, arouses much controversy in public opinion. In 2004, Delon took part in another mini-series where he played Frank Riva, a character very similar to Montale, but which was a low success with audiences. In 2005, Delon revealed to the press that he had been battling depression, an illness that pushed him to the brink of suicide during a romantic crisis and separation from partner Rosalie. Regarding this topic, the actor says, "I live in front of my eyes the scene of that moment. It is not difficult to do it. It is more difficult to think about what not to do to act. It is a piece of cake to do it." He is forced to give up Erica Sue's play Le Montagne Russe because of his illness. That same year, President Jacques Chirac awarded him the Légion d'honneur in recognition of his contribution to the art of world cinema. In 2008, Delon returned to film, playing Julius Caesar at the Olympics in Asterix. In the opening monologue, Caesar talks about his former life, but he is actually talking about Delon's own career. The actor takes his final farewell from the stage with a laconic and cheeky, "Hail me!" Alain Delon announces in an interview on Carlo Conti's The Best Years in 2009 that he has overcome the depression that had plagued him. In addition, the actor shows deep affection for the Italian actors and directors he worked with, especially his late friend Renato Salvatore. Career after retirement. Delon retired from film but continued to do theater. In 2007, he reunited with his former partner Mireille Darc on the set of Sur la route de Madison, an adaptation of Robert James Waller's novel The Bridges of Madison County. In 2014, he participated in the play Une journée ordinaire in Cannes with his daughter Anouchka Delon. During this time, she won numerous awards for her career, such as an award at the Acapulco Film Festival in 2011 and the Lifetime Achievement Award Parmigiani at the Locarno Film Festival in 2012. Regarding his retirement, Delon said, "I'm as old as I am. I have pursued my career. Right now, I wish to end it. I have seen men who have regretted fighting too much in boxing matches. There won't be one too big for me." He received the honorary Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival on May 19, 2019. About a month later, he suffered a stroke and later a brain hemorrhage. In 1958, Alain Delon embarked on a relationship with actress Romy Schneider, known for starring in The Pure Lover. Their relationship ended in 1964. In 1962, Delon had an affair with singer Nico, but he did not acknowledge that she was the mother of their son, Christian Aaron Boulogne, born the same year. Delon's mother adopted the child after his early years with Nico. During the 1960s, Delon also had a significant relationship with Dalida, an Italian-French singer. Their intense romance turned into a solid friendship, and in the early 1970s, the two collaborated on the recording of the song Paroles. Delon has stated that he loved Dalida very much. Delon married actress Nathalie Delon on August 13, 1964. They had their second child, Anthony Delon, born in 1964, who would become an actor and be the grandfather of model Alison Laborge in 1986. In 1968, his marriage to Nathalie ended in divorce. Delon had an affair with actress Marissa Mell in the months before his marriage, but he is said to have left her the day before his wedding to Nathalie. From 1968 to 1983, Delon had an affair with actress Mireille Darc, known for starring in Farewell Jeff. Delon also flirted with actresses Véronique Jeannot, Sylvia Crystal, Sidney Rom, and Dalila Di Lazzaro in the later years of this relationship. Delon had a brief relationship with actress Anne Parillot from 1982 to 1984, and later with Catherine Perroni after his relationship with Darc ended. Delon had a relationship with Rosalie van Bremen, a Dutch model. In 1987, they have two children, Anouchka Delon, born in 1990, and Alain Fabien Delon, born in 1994. In 2001, the couple separated. In the third millennium, Delon meets Hiromi, a Japanese woman. Although some documentaries have been made about Delon's turbulent past, he has never authorized official biographies about his life. For a long time, Alain Delon was identified as a Gaullist and a nationalist, with beliefs similar to those of Brigitte Bardot. He supported Valéry Giscard d'Estaing in 1981 and maintained ties with politicians such as Jean-Marie Le Pen. She said in 2015 that she supported Marine Le Pen's Front National. However, in an interview he gave in 2013 to French channel France 5, he raised controversy by saying that homosexuality is against nature. In 2015, he caused controversy by quoting Charles de Gaulle's statement, France is a nation of the white race, and further supporting the French far right. In 2020, Delon supported Michel Rubirola, a left-wing environmentalist, for mayor of Marseille. In 2022, he declared his support for Valérie Pécresse, the center-right candidate, in the presidential election, calling her the only woman capable of occupying the Élysée. Alain Delon is famous in China thanks to the distribution of Zorro, one of the first European films to arrive in the country. Only Steve McQueen and Sean Connery have reached his level of fame in China. As a cover for their 1986 album, The Queen is Dead, the British music group The Smiths used a frame from the final scene of the film The Rebel of Algiers in many musical tracks, such as Un Piastre Delon by Andrea Mingardi and the Song of Alain Delon by the group Bostel. Delon is praised, also, in the song. Sometimes I exaggerate from the album's status in Marrakesh. He is quoted in verses by rapper Salmo. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times, Madonna said that the song Beautiful Killer from the album MDNA is a tribute to Delon and his charisma. In an interview with TV Magazine, Richard Gere revealed that for inspiration in the role of American Gigolo, he watched the movie Murder in the Full Sun, Plan Soleil several times on the advice of director Paul Schrader. Delon said his love of animals, particularly dogs, would help him overcome depression. His large estate in Douchy contained the corpses of many dogs he had. In 2009, Delon used images and scenes from the film La Piscina for his image for the advertisement for Christian Dior's Eau Sauvage perfume. The sad last years of actor Alain Delon's life. Alain Delon died on August 18th in France at the age of 89. For many years before his death, he did not appear in public. The last time he appeared was at the 2019 Cannes Film Festival. Also in 2019, he suffered a stroke and since then his health has deteriorated. According to French media reports, he spent the last years of his life at his estate in Douchy, in the Val-de-Loire region of France. It is known that the land was purchased by Delon in 1971 and cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Before his death, the film legend had to witness a war over the estate of his 3 sons. In July 2023, his children, including son Anthony, daughter Anouchka, and son Alain Fabien, filed a complaint against the actor's assistant, Hiromi Rollin, alleging harassing and threatening behavior. Actor Alain's 3 children believe Rollin tried to usurp their father's assets worth more than $270 million. Rollin was kicked out of the house by Alain, but she denied the allegations by the actor's children. In early 2024, Anthony reported to police that his sister Anouchka had not informed the family of the 89-year-old star's cognitive test results from 2019 to 2022. My father had to undergo 5 tests when he went to the clinic in Switzerland and passed none of them. The cognitive decline left my father in a psychologically weak and vulnerable state, Anthony said. However, the lawyer representing Alain refuted what the famous star's son claimed. The actor was very shocked by the media explosion orchestrated by his son Anthony. Arguments between Alain's sons have become the focus of the French media. Alain's lawyer said Anthony was jealous of the famous star's affection for his daughter Anouchka. Anouchka's lawyer said he will file a complaint against Anthony for defamation and harassment. She believes her brothers are endangering her father's life and wants to take him to Switzerland for treatment. Meanwhile, Delon's youngest son, Alain Fabien, has defended Anthony by filing a complaint against Anouchka for taking advantage of his father's health condition. Last March, Anouchka filed a lawsuit against the 2 brothers for violating their right to privacy. Anthony and Alain Fabien will stand trial in April 2025. Last April, a French judge placed movie star Alain Delon under enhanced supervision, and this means that he does not have the right to manage his assets. They must be entrusted to a judge-appointed administrator. According to French media, in his will, Mr. Alain Delon left half of his estate to his daughter Anouchka, and the remaining half was divided between his 2 children. The public will always remember this talented man and his efforts in his journey to find good things for film and television audiences. Our video ended today. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. See you tomorrow with more interesting content.